Welcome. What a great night for an outdoor concert.
Yeah.
Our first music piece that we're going to play is Kentucky 1800 by Claire Grundman, composed in 1954, and it was revised in 1987. This piece contains 3 folk songs: The Promised Land, I'm Sad and Lonely, and Cindy. The words of The Promised Land were written by Samuel Stennett, a Baptist pastor in London in 1787, but originally set to a different tune. As with many folk songs, each singer was able to add their own verses, and many did. Cindy was a particular favorite for this. I'm Sad and Lonely was first documented in 1927 by Carl Sandburg. Please enjoy our first selection for this evening, Kentucky 1800. Up next, we have Georgia on My Mind, a song which was written by Hoagy Carmichael in 1930. In Carmichael's autobiography, he writes of the origin of the song, a friend, saxophonist, and bandleader Frankie Trombauer, who suggested, why don't you write a song called Georgia? And nobody lost much in writing about the South. While the song is almost universally believed to have been written about the state of Georgia, the lyrics written by Stuart Gorell and ambiguous enough to refer to either the state or a woman named Georgia. The song has been popular since its recording in 1930 and in 2003. Rolling Stones magazine named Georgia on My Mind the 44th greatest song of all time. Please enjoy this piece, Georgia on My Mind. On the Fields of Glory, arranged by Michael Brown. Over the years, popular sports movies have given us memorial melodies that have helped us make an emotional connection to these powerful stories. The inspirational and moving themes from Hoosiers, Remember the Titans, Rudy, and Rocky are sure to become favorites again and trigger many fond memories. Performing this new piece of music for us, we're playing On Fields of Glory. Just Another Polka. Words and music by Frank Lesser and Milton DeLuke. Copywritten in April 30th of 1953. Previously, it was registered for copyright as an unpublished song in April of 1953. Frank Lesser had been considered one of the most versatile Broadway composers. He never studied music, but turned to the harmonica and the piano in his teens. Then in 1931, he started composing lyrics. We hope you enjoy Just Another Polka. Are one of our all-time biggest acts in popular music since the dawn of rock and roll era. The band's roots go back to their roles as defining artists. This piece features Heartbreak Tonight, Desperado, and Hotel California, arranged by Patrick Rosell, the Eagles on Tour. My Fair Lady is a musical based on George Bernard Shaw's 1930 play of Pygmalion, with a book and lyrics by Alan J. Lerner and music by Frederick Lowe. The story concerns Eliza Doolittle, a Cockney flower girl who takes speech lessons from a professor, Henry Higgins, so that she may pass as a lady. Despite his cynical nature and difficulty understanding women, he falls in love with her. The musical's 1956 Broadway production was a notable critical and popular success, winning 6 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. It set a record for the longest run of any musical on Broadway up to that time and was followed by a hit London production. Rex Harrison and Julie Andrews starred in both productions. Many revivals have followed, and the 1964 film version won the Academy Award for Best Picture. Please enjoy My Fair Lady. point in the concerts, I would like to thank Channel 990, 991, and stgenTV.com for filming our performances each week. Let's give them a big hand. Leroy Anderson wrote The Syncopated Clock in 1945 while serving with the U.S. Army in Washington. Anderson had been invited to guest conduct the Boston Pops Orchestra during their annual Harvest Night. Anderson wanted to introduce a new work and composed a song about a clock with a syncopated rhythm. The idea for the title reportedly occurred to him before he even wrote the music. In a few hours, he wrote the music, scored it for orchestra, and then mailed it to the Symphony Hall in Boston. Anderson traveled from his home in Arlington, Virginia to Boston, where he conducted the premiere on May 28, 1945, where The Syncopated Clock was recorded in 1950. It was noticed by the producers of a new television program called The Late Show. The piece was then chosen as the theme music for The Late Show, which helped publicize Anderson's music. The Syncopated Clock was then used for the show for the next 25 years. Enjoy The Syncopated Clock. The Goldman March we will hear tonight is On the Mall. Composed in 1923, the phrase on the mall refers to the mall at the Naumburg Bandshell where Goldman's band frequently performed in New York City's Central Park. Goldman composed On the Mall to honor Elkin Naumburg, the financier of the bandshell. In a technique identified with Goldman, the trio is predominantly sung by the band members and then repeated with whistling. A great believer in public participation, Goldman encouraged audiences to sing along and then whistle or clap with the band performances of On the Mall. Please feel free to sing, whistle, or clap along with the band as they perform On the Mall. Up next, we have an English folk song style suite called Three Airs from Gloucester by Hugh M. Stewart. The suite contains 3 movements: the Jolly Earl of Cholmondeley, Air for Eventide, and the Fifes of Wembley. This piece came into being as a result of the composer's fascination with a 10th century couplet: "There's no one quite so comely as the Jolly Earl of Cholmondeley." Comely is an old English word that means pleasing and wholesome in appearance or attractive. The first movement, the Jolly Earl of Cholmondeley, is representative of the nobility that's once surrounded the Cholmondeley Castle, which is depicted with the fanfare-esque sounds that leads itself to visions of nobility and busy life within a castle's walls. The second movement, Air for Eventide, is contrastingly gentle and calm, but full of emotion. The word air typically refers to a piece of English instrument music, but can also refer to a vocal music. The third movement, the Fifes of Wembley, may represent a few different things. A fife is actually an old English term for a fee. Wembley is part of London and is today most famous for the Wembley Stadium, the home of the English national soccer team, that results in 3 compositions and designing to capture the mood of the peasants as they live on the fifes of Wembley's castle. Please enjoy 3 Airs from Gloucester. final piece tonight is The Washington Post by John Philip Sousa. Sousa composed this piece in 1889. Since then, it has remained as one of his most popular marches throughout the United States and many countries abroad. In 1889, owners of the Washington Post newspaper requested that Sousa, the leader of the United States Marine Corps band, composed a march at the newspaper's essay contest award ceremony. Sousa obliged. The Washington Post march was then introduced at the ceremony on June 15th of 1889, and it became quite popular. It led to a British journalist dubbing Sousa as the March King. Sousa is honored in the Washington Post building for his contributions to the newspaper and his country. I hope you enjoy this march, The Washington Post. I'd like to thank all of you for coming out tonight to support and enjoy the St. Genevieve Municipal Band.